So we've been doing a series, End Time Events in Parables. And we'll be looking at the parables of Jesus Christ. Primarily these parables, the wise and foolish virgins, the wedding banquet, the workers in the vineyard. We have done all three of these already. We're going to be doing this afternoon, watches of the night. Then next week we'll be doing the widow's persistence and the wheat and the tares. We have been using a very interesting approach. We have been recognizing that Christ indicated that through the spirit of prophecy, that through the parables which Jesus spoke to the Jews, he brought their minds to what? Prophecies. So these parables, they have a prophetic application. That's very important because we don't spend much time studying the parables from the prophetic application. And we have delved on, I don't think it's centered properly.
Suji.
I'm losing quite a bit. Not sure why that's a problem. Let me pass that slide. I hope that's the slide of the problem. But nevertheless, this is Testament to Sabbath School. It basically says searching the Word of God. When we do that, it may appear in a light in which we have never before beheld it. Alright? That's what it's basically saying. So as we're going to study the Word of God, it's going to be an application that you may not be familiar with. But I believe God will have a lot of blessings in store for us. So we're going to be studying the watches of the night. I hope this is said properly, and I hope we don't have any more slides. So, in John 14, 1-4, this text set the scene for the watches of the night. Christ himself said, "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you." Here it is important words now. "I go to prepare a place for you." So Christ says, I have gone to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And whither I go, you know, and the way you know. So Christ says, I'm going away to prepare a place for you, and I'll come again. Now, Christ saying that is the basis of the parable that is found in Mark 13, 33-35. And this is what the parable says. "Take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey. I go to prepare a place for you." Are you seeing the context now? And it's been likened to Christ as a man who have taken a what? Far journey. Who left his house and gave authority to his servants and to every man his work, and commanded to the porter to what? Watch. So while Christ has left, what must we be doing? Watching. But the question is, watching what? That's going to be what we're going to try and bring out from a prophetic perspective. So Christ is a man who have gone to a far place to prepare a place for us, and he gives us clear command to do what? To watch. Now, he goes on. "Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning." So 1, 2, 3, 4 watches of the night. So let's put in context again. John 14, Christ says, "I go to prepare a place for you." And then we see in Mark 13, 33-35, the application is being brought forth. The Son of Man is like a man going a far journey. And he says to the porter, he says to those of the household, "Watch." Watch why? "Because I may come at the evening watch, at the midnight watch, at the cock crowing watch, or at the what? Morning watch." No. Watch. Watch a period of the night in which one person or one set of persons stand as sentinels. Or the time from one relief of sentinels to another. Are you following me? So consider it in a military stance though. You're standing at your watch. So I stand at my watch from the start of a certain time to what? The end of a certain time. My job is to do what? Watch. Now when my watch finish, someone else watch what? Starts. So each watch have a start and a what? End. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that? So there's a evening watch, midnight watch, cock crowing watch, and a morning watch. And each of those watch have a what? Start of the watch, end of the watch, and a start of the other watch, and the end of that watch and a start of a what? Another watch. Now, among the Israelites, there were 4 watches during the night. Hence we read in scripture of the first watch, of the second, third, and the fourth watch. The first watch commenced at 6 o'clock in the evening. The second at 9 o'clock in the night. The third watch at 12 midnight. And the fourth watch at 3 in the morning. And it extends until the what? 6 o'clock in the morning. So what are we seeing? Evening watch. 6 o'clock it starts until 9. The midnight watch. 9 o'clock until 12. The cock crowing watch. Cock crowing watch is from 12 to 3. And the morning watch is going to be from 3 to 6. So, first watch, evening watch, 6 to 9. Second watch, 9 to 12. Third watch, 12 to 3. Fourth watch, morning watch, 3 to 6. Now, here we're describing that here. This is the 24-hour cycle we're looking at. So we have the evening watch, which is the first watch, 6 to 9. The midnight watch from 9 to 12. Cock crowing watch from 12 to 3. And lastly the what? Fourth watch the what? Morning watch from 3 to 6. Now, we're going to look at the application of the watches. I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. There are many different applications that could have been brought in, but wisdom says that we have had a long day, I've had a long day. Let's keep it on the watches, and let's look at the application as it relates to the messaging that's going to go forward. Now, the first watch. When did the first watch begin?
6 to 9.
Alrighty? Who did it belong with? It began with this person, William Miller. An upright and honest-hearted farmer who had been led to doubt the divine authority of the scriptures, yet who sincerely desired to know the truth, was a man specially chosen of God to lead out in the proclamation of Christ's second coming. Christ left and said, go and prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I'm what? Coming again. So the watching is in the context of Christ what? Coming back. Are you seeing that? So he was the man who the Lord inspired to bring forth the start of the watches, the first watch. Great controversy, 370 we just read. Now, it all wrapped up in this prophetic message that was found in Daniel 8:14. On the 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Now, we studied this many times before. That when this prophecy was given, Daniel says that it was shut up and he did not understand it in Daniel 8:26-27. We studied that this morning. Now, what does this prophecy has to do with the first watch? Here what it is. So, the 2,300 day prophecy, we need a starting point. And we learned this morning that the starting point is found in another prophecy in Daniel 9:25 that says, know therefore and understand that from, that's a starting point, yes? From the going forth of the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. That's the starting point of this 2,300 day prophecy. Now stay with me, we're going to tie it together very nicely. And we learn likewise that this going forth, this commandment that went forth, we learn that it was issued by King Artaxerxes in the book of Ezra 7:12-14. It was documented, and here's a commandment or a decree. I make a decree that all thy people of Israel and of his priests and Levites in my realm, which are minded of their own free will to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee. So Artaxerxes gave this command, this decree. And it goes on not, remember now, the prophet says it must be restored and rebuild Jerusalem. Rebuild it, yes, but bring what? Restoration of its function. So this here is for its building, and here is the restoration now. Restore the system of magistrates and judges, and let there be judgment executed. So restore the what? Civil and legal authority in Jerusalem. So it's not only to build the what? The buildings, but restore what? The civil government. Are you following me so far? No. We learned this morning likewise that this decree was given 457 BC by Artaxerxes. So therefore, using the 1 day equal 1 year principle in prophetic interpretation, which is found in Numbers 14:34 and Ezekiel 4:5 and 6, applying that now back to what we learned here, this prophecy. So this 2,300 days become 2,300 years. And now, William Miller believed the sanctuary was the what? Earth. So putting together, we're discussing this now in the watches of the night. So Christ says, I go and prepare a place for you. God chose William Miller to be the man to proclaim Christ's second coming, as they watch for his what? Second coming. Are you following me? No. So therefore, here is in the Great Controversy, the 1888 edition, the Spirit of Prophecy now discussing what time are we seeing here now in terms of when they expected Christ to come back. As the 70 weeks and the 2,300 days have a common starting point, the calculation of Mr. Miller is verified at a glance by subtracting 47 years BC from 3,300, which gives you what? 2,300 minus 457 gives you what? 1843. The year 1843 was, however, regarded as extended to the spring of 1844. The reason for this, briefly stated, is as follows. Ancient the year did not commence in the midwinter nor as now, but at the first new moon after the vernal equinox. Therefore, as a period of 2,300 days was begun in a year reckoned by the ancient method, it was considered necessary to conform to that method to its close. Hence, 1843 was counted as ending the what? Spring of 1844. So that's how William Miller and his associates figured it out. And they said Christ was going to come in the spring of 1844 as they were watching for Christ to come back. No. So here's this now, friends. So William Miller started preaching this message, which is the start of the first watch. He started preaching this message the first Sunday in August of 1831. William Miller starts preaching this message of Jesus' imminent return, because they were watching for Christ to return. He later received a license to preach from the Baptist Church in 1833. This first preaching in 1831, the first Sunday in August of 1831, this commenced the start of the first watch, evening watch. Are you understanding? So the evening watch started the first Sunday in August of 1831 when William Miller first preached publicly that Jesus Christ was supposed to come in by the spring of what? 1844. So we have a start here. Now let's go into more details now. At the time when this message went forth, William Miller was fulfilling the preaching of the first angel message. So the first angel message started being preached publicly the first Sunday in August of 1831. And the message was, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. But the Millerites believed that the judgment to come was Christ to come back to the earth to judge the earth with what? Fire. Because they believed that the sanctuary was what? The earth. And the prophecy said what? In Daniel 8:14. Until 2,300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. So William Miller believed that the earth was the sanctuary and that Christ is going to come back by the spring of 1844 to what? Cleanse the earth. That's what his belief was. So then, that was a fulfillment of the judgment to come. Because William Miller's belief was that God is going to come and through judgment with fire, cleanse the earth. Are you following me so far? Let's go a little bit more deeper now. So Miller's message was that Jesus will come sometime between the spring of 1843 to the spring of 1844 to judge the earth through the cleansing with fire. And this fulfilled the first angel message. So there's a point I'm making here. At the start of the first watch, what is linked with the start of the first watch is the what? First angel message. The start of the first watch is linked with the fulfillment of the first angel message. Now, let's go further. Let's see if we can come down to a date. So we have a date for the start of the first watch. The first Sunday in August of 1831 is the date of the start of the first watch. Let's see if we can find a very expected end of the first watch when they expected Christ to come back to the earth. Let's go to William Miller. So this is the memoirs of William Miller. So we can't get any better evidence than this. And this is what is being said now. He, Miller, wrote to Himes on February 4th, 1844, Jesus Christ will come again to the earth, cleanse, purify, and take possession of the same with all his saints, sometime between March 21st, 1843 and March 21st, 1844. I have never, for the space of more than 23 years, at any other time preached or published by me. I have never fixed on any month, day, or hour during that period. So the limit to the end of the first watch by William Miller in his memoirs was what? March 21st, 1844. Are you following me? So the first watch started the first Sunday in August of 1831 and extended to the spring of 1844, particularly March 21st, 1844. Now, so they expected Christ to come then as they were watching. They were like sentinels, men in arms watching. Time of expectation passed. Great controversy 374. And Christ did not appear for the deliverance of his people. Those who had with sincere faith and love and look for their Savior experienced a what? Bitter disappointment. So that's what we call it, little disappointment. So the spring of 1844, March 21st, the Master did not appear. The first watch ended and the second watch began. Are you following me so far? So they expected Christ as they were watching in the first watch from the first Sunday of August 1831 to March 21st, 1844. They expected Christ to come by the end of the watch. He didn't come and they experienced a what? Bitter disappointment. That's what we call a little disappointment. So as one watch ends, what begins? Another watch. So the second watch began at the end of the first watch. So here, let me see if I can demonstrate what we're saying here. Hear what we're saying here, friends. Hear what we're saying here. The first watch began 1831. They expected Christ to come spring of 1844, March 21st in particular. The little disappointment, the first watch ended, and the what? The second watch began. But as we said before, the first angel message is associated with what? The beginning of the what? First watch. Because the first angel message is that Christ is going to come to judge the earth with fire. Which is seen in the fulfillment of the first angel message. Fear God and give glory to him. And speaks about what? His judgment is come. So we're going to discuss now the second watch. The Advent believers realized their error. When going from BC to AD, there is no 0 year, but from 1 BC to 1 AD. So what are we saying? Where you're going is not from, going from BC to AD, there is no 0 year. So you go from 1 BC to what? 1 AD. Now when they took that in consideration, they recalculated and they found that it should have been 2,300 minus 457 plus 1 to account for the fact that there is no what? 0 year. And they came to the belief that Christ is going to come later in that year of 1844. So they added the 2,300, came to 1844. No. At that point in time, when the message was being preached again, we see another fulfillment. As the churches refused to receive the first angel message, they rejected the light from heaven and fell from the favor of God. They trusted to their own strength, and by opposing the first message, placed themselves where they could not see the light of the second angel's message. But the beloved of God, who were oppressed, accepted the message. Babylon is fallen and left the churches. So in the summer of 1844, while they were expecting Christ to come, the second angel message went forth, which says what? Babylon, the Protestant church system, is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Fallen how? Fallen because of her unbelief. Fallen because of her unbelief. She refused to accept the what? First angel message. So, here's the point I'm making here now. So, we saw here that the second angel message started in the summer of 1844. Now, that's during the second watch. Now, later that year, Samuel Snow gives light through the midnight cry. And this is under a camp meeting in August of 1844, where they saw that 2020 days end in 1844, not 1843. And the day of the cleansing of the sanctuary is synonymous with the Day of Atonement, the 10th day of the 7th Jewish month. And when they did the calculation, Samuel Stowe preached a message that said Christ will come on October 22nd, 1844. And that was the midnight cry message. So the midnight cry message was that Jesus Christ is going to come October 22nd, 1844. And that message went out during the second watch. Now, so let's look at this midnight cry. What do we understand by this midnight cry? Let's look at it. Here we go. So we saw the spring of 1844 was a little disappointment. The summer of that year, the second angel message went out. In the middle of that 6-month period, because the prophecy says is a midnight cry. So night is half a day is half a year is 6 months. Are you following that? So the middle of 6 months is when the message of the midnight cry went forth. Are you seeing that? The middle of that and at midnight a cry was made. Behold the bridegroom, cometh. At the middle of that midnight, night is half day. So the 24 hours is what? Day and night. So night is half of day, which is half a year, which is 6 months. The middle of the 6 months mark between the summer of 1844 to the fall of 1844, the midnight cry was being preached. That Christ is going to come back October 22nd, 1844. The day October 22nd came, 1844. The 2,300 days ended. The 10th day of the 7th Jewish month came and passed. And typical Day of Atonement would have begun. And God's people expected Jesus to come to the earth to cleanse it. But they experienced a what? Great disappointment. The second watch ended and the third watch has begun. So they expected Christ to come in the first watch. Did he come in the first watch? No. They expected him to physically come in the second watch. Did he come in the second watch? No. So, during this time period now of starting the third watch, another message is sent called the third angel message. Early Writings 254, first paragraph says, as the ministration of Jesus closed in the holy place, and he passed into the holiest, and stood before the ark containing the law of God, he sent forth a what? He sent another mighty angel with a what? Third message to the world. A parchment was placed in the angel's hand, and as he descended to the earth in power and majesty, he proclaimed a fearful warning with the most terrible threat ever born to man. So, let's put it in diagrammatic form. So we are saying here, this is what we're saying here. Here we go now, friends. So, as we see here that as the second watch ended with a great disappointment when they thought Christ was going to come October 22nd, 1844, the third watch began. And when the third watch began, a third message went out called the third angel's message. So are you seeing something so far? The first watch had the first angel message associated with it. The second watch had the what? Second angel message associated with it. The third watch has what with message associated with it? The third angel message associated with it. Now, so which watch are we in? Let us see. So the third angel message says what? And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive the mark in his hand or his forehead, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. And this is a very important message. It says, here's the picture of the saints, here are the what? Keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So this third angel message warns us against the mark of the beast, but it brings a word of comfort by saying what? Here are the what? Keep the commandments of God and have the what? Faith of Jesus Christ. That's the third angel message that occurs in which watch? The third watch. Now let's look at it now. So let me ask a question now. This is the reason why we're discussing this right now, because of this question and what it means to us as Adventists. And the question is this: in our present day, during the third watch, what time are we watching for? You go to the average Adventist Christian and say to them, we're in the third watch. They might say yes. They might say, yeah, we're in the third watch. But you ask the question, what are you watching for? Some say, well, we're watching for Christ to come. Some say we're watching for the son-in-law to pass. Some say we're watching for the new president to take office. Some say we're watching for the election to come. But as Seventh-day Adventist Christian during this third watch, what should we be watching for? I want you guys to listen carefully. What I'm going to say right now, maybe a little difference between your salvation, yes or no. So listen carefully what I'm going to say right now. The question that front us right now, in the third watch, what are we watching for? What should our eyes be singled on as watchmen? What are we watching for? We have to ask ourselves a question. So let's see if we can come to the what are we supposed to be watching for during the third watch. Let's get into it now. So here now, 2 Testimonies 192, first paragraph. So as I typically do, I leave the word of God and then I bring in the spirit of prophecy to kind of tie it up. Alright, so let's tie it up now. This is spirit of prophecy with this now. Explaining the watches down. This is what is being said. In the first watch, we expected our master, but were disappointed. So between the first Sunday in August of 1831 to March 21st, 1844, the first watch, we expected the master, but we are what? We were disappointed. Didn't come. She goes on. We thought surely he would come in the second watch. The second watch, from, as we learned, from March 21st, 1844 to October 22nd, 1844. We expected him to come. But that passed and he came not. We may be again disappointed. We need not be so particular. He may not come in the following watch. Now, so she's saying what people are thinking. What we Seventh-day Adventists are thinking. And let me tell you something. I've been speaking to some Seventh-day Adventists and it's exactly what they say to me. They say, you are too committed. You are too zealous. Why? We thought, the early Advent believers thought he was going to come in the first and second watch and didn't come. So why? He may not come in the third watch. So I've experienced these people saying that. And she's writing what the Adventist mindset is. She goes on by saying, we're in the what? Third watch. So which watch are we in? Third watch. And now we think it best to lay up our treasures on the earth. Mercy, haven't I had some battle with Seventh-day Adventists about money and their resources? I've had some rough battle with Adventists about that. Don't touch our money as Adventists, you know.
No. No.
the same misconstrued habit that we have to work 3, 4, 5 jobs. We were doing the same thing. So in the third watch, this is what many of us are saying. Lay up your treasure on earth, that we may be secure against want. Oh Lord, let me just be temperate in my message this evening.
Preach on.
Let me know, but you have to be temperate still. How many of you have heard say this nonsense? I'm gonna create a system so I am self-sufficient and I can care for myself and family. While the work of God needs the money.
And self.
Many were sleeping, stupefied with the cares of this life and allured by the deceitfulness of riches from the waiting, watching position. So we need to be in a state of watching with our eyes single. What are we saying?
Yes, sir.
We're saying our treasure upon earth. I'm going to sleep and build bigger barns. You don't know your soul is required probably tonight. Because of the deceitfulness of riches. It make your eyes not be single. Your eyes are looking two ways out. You're not waiting and watching in your position, doing the third watch. So doing this third watch, that's what I see going on among Seventh-day Adventists now. You go to a church and invite you to preach a message, and you preach a message straight, and from the high to the low, everybody's upset with you.
That's true.
Because you're touching our comfort zone. We just want to sleep. Who is you to come and wake us up and speak strong hard message? No, we don't want to hear that. Just give us something soft and easy. Give us porridge message. Hard food, no, we don't want hard food. You're disturbing us too much, Mr. Preacher Man. Let us sleep in peace. Because we have become stupefied by our treasures on this earth. And the deceitfulness of our riches have caught us together. That's what we experience as a church in this third watch. And I know it because I have been there and I have been involved in evangelism for a very long time. Yes, for several years well. And I've been there, friends. We're in trouble in this third watch. The third watch calls for threefold what? Earnestness. I got to be earnest. Because we're in what? The third watch. To become impatient now would be to lose all our earnest, persevering watching heretofore. The long night of gloom is trying, but the morning is deferred in mercy. Because the master should come, so many will be found unready. Yes. Wow. The master wants to come, but we are sleeping and stupefied. Doing this third watch, we should be watching what? Threefold more. Jesus has left us work. Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, at midnight, or at cock crowing, or in the morning. Lest coming suddenly he find you what? Sleeping. Now here's a question now. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. We are waiting and watching for the return of the master, who is to bring the morning, lest coming suddenly he find us sleeping. What time is he referred to? So what are we watching for? That's the question. The question now in the third watch, what are we watching for? Are we watching for a change of government? Are we watching for Christ to come back the second time? Are we watching for our bank books to get bigger? Are we watching for the stock market to rise or fall? What are we watching for? What are you watching for? Here is what we're supposed to be watching for. Not to the revelation of Christ in the clouds of heaven to find our people asleep. Friends are hearing now. We are not in the third watch watching for Christ's second coming. So the question is asked, what time is referred to? Not to the revelation of Christ in the clouds of heaven to find our people asleep. So we are now watching the third watch for Christ's second coming. What are we watching for? No, but to his return from his ministration in the most holy place in heavenly sanctuary. And when the mandate goes forth, probation closes, Christ's intercession ceases in heaven. We are watching in the third watch for the close of probation. Yes. But you know what's so interesting? It's the only time in the watches that he has not given us a time for.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Friends, do you realize that?
You never know.
He gave us a time when the first watch started and the first watch ended. He gave us a time when the second watch started and the second watch ended. He gave us a time when what? The third watch started. But there's no way in the scripture he gives us a time when the what? Third watch ends. When probation closes.
So keep on watching.
So we got to keep on watching, my brother. 3-4 earnestness. So let me say it again. We got the time when the first watch started and the first watch ended. We got the time when the second watch started and the second watch ended. We got the time when the third watch started, but not the time when the third watch ended. It ends at the close of probation. It's the only time of the watch we don't have. So friends, last day, Venice 2:29, 4th paragraph. When Jesus ceased to plead for man, the case of all are forever what? Decided. Probation closes. Christ's intercession ceases in heaven. This time finally comes suddenly upon all. And those who have neglected to purify their souls by obeying the truth are found what? Sleeping.
Right in the church.
So in this third watch, where we should have 3-4 watchfulness, probation is going to close on some of us and we're going to be found what? Sleeping.
Spiritually sleeping.
Sleeping. This time finally comes suddenly upon all. And those who have neglected to purify their souls by obeying the truth are found sleeping. They became weary of waiting and watching. They became indifferent in regard to the coming of their master. They longed not for his appearing and thought there was no need of such continued persevering watching. They had been disappointed in their expectations and might be again. They concluded that there was time enough to yet to arouse.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so accurate for Seventh-day Adventists. How many times have you spoken to Adventists and they say to you, we have time, man. We have time.
Yes.
My friend, you are sleeping. No worry, man. Yeah, I know I'm sleeping, but guess what? I'll be aroused when the time is right. They conclude that there was time enough yet to be aroused. They would be sure not to lose the opportunity of securing an earthly treasure. It would be safe to get all of this world they could. Lord, help us as a people.
Yes.
In this third watch, the material things of life are eating us out.
Yes.
We want bigger cars, bigger house, bigger bank account, bigger jobs, we want bigger everything. And the cause of Christ is suffering. And we're asleep because we have been deceived by the things of this world. Brethren, in the third watch, it calls for what? 3-fold more watchfulness. Because we're not going to know when probation closes.
Yeah.
We're not going to get a date.
No.
We get a sign, and we'll discuss the sign of probation closing next Sabbath. I can't get in that now. So we won't get a date when probation closes ahead of time. But we'll get a sign to say probation has closed. Friends, you understand the distinction?
Yes.
We're not going to be given a date when probation closes, but we'll be given a sign when probation closes. I'm going to discuss that next week. We're going to discuss the widow's persistence. That's our problem for next Sabbath morning. Widow's persistence. And we'll discuss what's the sign that probation has closed. We won't get a date ahead of time. We saw that the early Advent believers got a date ahead of time for what? The close of what? First watch and the what? Second watch. We're not going to be given any date for the closure of the third watch. Just a signal or a sign that says the third watch has ended. 2 Testimonies 191, first paragraph. And in securing this object, they lost all anxiety and interest in the appearing of the Master. They became indifferent and careless as though his coming were yet in the distance. But while their interest was buried up in their worldly gains, the work closed in the heavenly sanctuary, and they were what? Unprepared. So when the probation closes, general close of probation, that's it. Every case has been decided for life or death. While Jesus had been ministering in the sanctuary, the judgment had been going on for the righteous death and then for the righteous living. Christ had received his kingdom, having made up the atonement for his people and blotted out their sins. The subjects of the kingdom were made up. The marriage of the Lamb was what? Consummated. That's it, friends. Probation is closed. At the ending, as we see at the end of the third watch, probation what? Closes. So during this third watch, we are watching for what? The close of the judgment or the general close of probation. General close of probation. Revelation 15 verse 8 says, and the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no man was able to enter the what? Temple till the 7 last plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. So when probation closes, friends, access to mercy in the most holy place is what? Done. It's done. It's done, friends. Probation closes. And that time, we're not going to get a date ahead of time. We're only going to get what? A signal or a sign that it has what? Been what? Done already. Revelation 22:11 says, and he that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he that is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And him that is holy, let him be holy still. Probation closes, friends, at the ending of the third watch, which is the close of probation. Great contrast, it's 428, second paragraph says, when the work of investigation shall be ended, and when the cases of those who in all ages have professed to be followers of Christ have been examined and decided, then, and not till then, probation will close and the door of mercy will shut. The door to the most holy place is what? Shut. Shut. Isaiah 86:36, second paragraph. The highest excitement prevails, yet probation's hour is fast closing, and every case is about to be eternally decided. Satan sees that his time is short, and he has set all his agencies at work that men may be deceived, deluded, occupied, and entranced until the day of probation shall be ended, and the door of mercy will be forever shut. There are some virgins that I am so worried about, you have no idea. There are virgins that I have spoken to so direct that they called me and they were upset because I spoke to them so direct. But you know what I found interesting? They never said that what I spoke to them about was wrong. They were upset because I spoke to them about it. And you know what's even worse? They have not heeded the warning. I want to talk to you guys heart to heart. If you are saying to yourself, no, I cannot do anything for the cause of Christ. I cannot use my money for the cause of Christ. I cannot work for the cause of Christ. I'm going to wait until I'm secure to work for the cause of Christ. Let me say this to you. You shall never work for the cause of Christ.
Truly. That's true.
I want to say that a different way. If you're saying to yourself, I have a job and I'm getting $100 per month, but I can't give $1 to Christ. I'm going to work until I start making $1,000 per month. Then I'm going to give to the cause of Christ. You shall never give God a penny.
And you don't want it.
You know the reason why, friends? Your act of giving must be given from what you have now.
No.
How you give, and I'm talking broadly now. I'm talking not only money, but talent, time, treasure. I'm talking everything to give, given to Christ. If you're not giving it now, because you think you need to have more to give it, you shall never give it. Give from what you have when? No. Then Christ, if he chooses, will what? Bless and expand your giving. And I've heard many people come with that nonsense. Good friends of mine. So I've started a new business. I wanted some missionary work for Christ, but you know what? The business just started. South Africa and get grow the business first, then I start some missionary work. Nonsense! Do for Christ? No! Third hour, third watch, threefold watchfulness in earnestness. So when people come to me and tell me, say, oh, I want to do for Christ, I say, what have you done as yet? Nothing. I question their fidelity in what they're saying. Friend, I'm being very sincere, I'm being very direct. If you're one of those persons who says, I want to get it right first, before I give to Christ, and give to his cause, and use my time, talent, and treasure, you will never give to Christ. Because that's not the prerequisite. The prerequisite is to give from what you have. Now, at the close of probation, friends, the third watch will end and the fourth watch will begin. At the close of probation, which I'm going to tell you guys next Sabbath, what the signal is that the probation has closed. When that occurs, then the fourth watch begins. What are we saying? We're saying here, friends, after the loud cry message with all three angel messages go forward, and the message of Jesus Christ, our righteousness, goes forward, and the Son of the Lord is past, and we go to the time of trouble, we're going to go to a period of what? Close of probation. The third watch will end, and the fourth watch will begin. And I've given the answer here actually. When the plagues start to fall, that's the signal that probation has ended. Yes, friends. We won't get any date ahead of time. But when the plagues start to fall, friends, we'll know for sure probation has ended. Friends, are you listening? So when probation closes, friend, the next thing we're going to see is what? The plagues start to fall. And that's when we're going to say, probation has ended. And he who's filthy will what? Remain what? Filthy still. And he who's righteous remain what? Righteous still. No second chance. But we're going to discuss much more about this next Sabbath. So come on next Sabbath morning. It's going to be an interesting study. The widow's persistence. Now, William Miller now, in the memoirs of William Miller, is what he says. At the fourth watch, the master comes. At the what? During which watch? The fourth watch. And finds the porter and a few companions watching, while the doors are barred and the remainder of the servants are asleep. Now let me inquire, will the master condemn the porter and his friends for making those false alarms? No! So though they were saying that the first, second, and third watch, no! Will he punish them for disturbing the carousing of their brethren? Which of these two classes of servants will have shown the most love for their master? Let each one answer these questions and decide his own case justly. Friends, you guys understand what he's saying? He's saying, those who said, oh, you Adventists, you expect the Christ to come in the first watch and the second watch and the third watch. And you have aroused us. But you have stayed awake during the what? Fourth watch. And he comes and finds you watching. Are you guilty to be charged to say to the brethren, keep watching? No! You do your job. Because when the master left, he said you must do what? Watch! Absolutely, you got it. He said watch. So you must watch and do what? First watch, second watch, third watch, and the fourth watch. Great Controversy 633. As the wrestling ones urge their petition before God, the veil separating them from the unseen seems almost withdrawn. The heavens glow with the dawning of eternal day. That's the what? Morning watch. Ending of the morning watch. And like the melody of angel songs, the words fall upon the ear. Stand fast, your allegiance. He's coming. Christ, the almighty victor, holds out to his weary soldiers a crown of immortal glory. And his voice comes from the gates ajar. Lo, I am with you. Be not afraid. I am acquainted with all your sorrows. I have borne your griefs. You are not warring against untried enemies. I have fought the battle in your behalf. And in my name, you are more than conquerors. Christ has come. He has come, friends. And ends the what? Ends the what? Fourth watch. He comes and ends the fourth watch. I'm going to learn next week that we're going to know the date of Christ coming to end the fourth watch.
Yeah.
We're going to learn that next week.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn that there's only one, the ending of only one watch we're not going to know. A date before the end of time, before it occurs. Is the what? Third watch. Close of probation. So friends, don't worry about which day Christ is going to come. If you're alive and you're faithful, you will know.
Yes.
So don't worry about that. My mind is on the what? Third watch what? Threefold watchfulness. Why? Because probation may what? Sneak upon me.
Yeah.
I had a heart attack July 28th of this year. My second heart attack, and I'm 47, going to be 40, the 23rd of this month. If I had died, then my probation would have what? Closed. So I would have died in the third watch. They got to watch threefold watchfulness. Oh, sometimes I feel to come and just shake Adventists and wake them up. But Lord, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's for you to wake up your church. My job is just to preach a message. But I see that we're sleeping people. Friends, we're in the third watch. We're sleeping. The only watch, we don't get a date ahead of the time. We got a date for ahead of the time at the end of the first watch, second watch, and even the fourth watch. The third watch we are given no end of time. No time ahead of the end of the ending of the third watch. So almost we'll be sleeping now, friends. We can't be sleeping now. So friends, here's a summary of what we studied this afternoon. The first watch is from 1831, and we saw it was linked to the first in the message, to the spring of 1844, the first disappointment. The second watch from the spring of 1844 and ended the fall of 1844, October 22nd, the great disappointment, and signaled by the closure of the door to the what? The holy place, and opening the door to the what? Most holy place. As Christ entered from the holy to the most holy. The third watch began on the fall of 1844, October 22nd, and will end at the close of probation. Do we have any date for that one? No. The fourth watch will begin at the close of probation and end at the second coming of Jesus, ushering eternal day. This watch, Christ is going to give the date of the closure of the fourth watch. He's going to give the date of his second coming before the second coming.
Yeah.
Friends,
Yeah.
only the ending of the third watch is the only time that we have, only date we have not been given ahead of time. What we have been given is a what? Signal. When the plagues start to fall,
Oh,
probation has closed, the third watch has ended, and we are either sealed into Christ for salvation or marked for destruction. So friends, so he didn't come in the first watch. He didn't come in the second watch. We're in the third watch, watching for the close of probation. But rest assured, friends, he's coming in the fourth watch. Are you watching? I invite you to be out next Sabbath as we discuss the widow's persistence and all these undiscussed issues. We're going to discuss some more. May God bless and keep us.